Hi everyone, happy Valentine's Day. I hope you're all staying nice and cozy today inside, whether you're with a family member or a friend or your special someone. But I hope you're enjoying today's just feeling of love and appreciation. So I wanted to pop on today and show you a little card that I designed for my Valentine this year. If you joined me for my February card class, you did see this card, but I thought it would be great to have a little reminder of how it's made. And then for those of you who didn't have a chance to join us, this is your chance to find out how you can make this gorgeous card, either for a Valentine if you need a last minute one, or perhaps an upcoming wedding or anniversary. So what I love about this entire suite is it's so versatile. It doesn't have to be geared just towards one holiday. It can be wedding, anniversary. It can almost be just any sort of friendship card too. We've got some friend sentiments in here, and hopefully if you check out the stamp sets in the sets that I'm using today, you'll find that it's not just a one-sided holiday set. It's actually very versatile. So what I have in front of me is the three different foil colors. You can kind of vaguely see them. We've got kind of a pinkish look on this one. This is very blush, and then you've got a nice silver in here. So what I like about, let me just show you this entire suite, the Love You Always suite, is all of the pieces are meant to complement one another. We have two bundles that we're going to use and I'll show you today. And then we've got some gorgeous foils that we're using in our background and behind our lettering. And then you can also tie in other pieces of these, this bundle as well. You've got some nice monochromatic paper. And we've got these gorgeous specialty designs that we're going to cut into strips for our background. Now it's a really, really gorgeous set, and you can mix and match pieces however you want. I'm going to show you how to use the dies from the one bundle, the Always in My Heart, with the Forever and Always Love or Always Sentiment, whichever one you choose to use for your card. So let's get going. And welcome to those of you who are tuning in. Hi, Kathy. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need to make this card is a base. So I chose to use Rococco Rose. It fits with all of the color schemes in this suite. And I ended up cutting this one at 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And I put a score mark right down the middle at 5 1/2 so that my card folds upright like so. Now to add some dimension, you're going to need two pieces of black cardstock. So one is for the inside of your card and one is for the outside, but they're going to measure the exact same size. So they will need to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. One of them on the front, you're going to pop up with dimensionals. And then the one on the inside, we're just going to use a regular adhesive of any sort and attach inside there for just some nice bold shadowing on your card. Okay, so my dimensionals on the front piece, like so, and then you might as well just get this second piece in place. That will make your life very easy. And this goes on the inside of the card here. So sometimes when I'm getting a little fancier, rather than cutting just one piece of white paper to write on for the inside of a card, I like to actually put a couple pieces so it looks very bold and very prominent for whoever is receiving your card. Okay, well, you've got this open on the inside. You can't really write on black. That's not the easiest thing. And I didn't want white. So I went and I found myself a piece of our Blushing Bride cardstock. This is light enough for you to be able to write on and somebody can see, but it's also a little added texture and focus for your card. So this one measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and we're going to lay that flat on the inside of this card as well. So just attaching it with some tape or some seal adhesive would be perfect. There we go. And that is the inside of your card. You could always stamp something else in there too, or you maybe want a lot of room to be able to write a note. Okay, so let's go back to the front of our card. We are going to add a little foil to kind of brighten up our image here. So this foil, you can see I've chopped to bits because you're not seeing anything in the middle space of this foil. We're going to have another layer go over top of it, and I really don't like wasting foil. So what I did was I cut out the pieces that I need for my card, like my always shadowed and some of my little framelit pieces. I cut those all out ahead of time using the Always in My Heart die set. Okay, so this little cluster of 3 flowers and this little cluster of leaves were where I got the embellishments. And then from the Forever and Always stamp set, like I mentioned, they have amazing bubble letters. So I cut out with the major bubbles from the foil, and then I'm going to use the more detailed word in a black piece of cardstock later. Okay, so we can attach this right to the front. Make sure you are using a nice strong adhesive because the foil likes to bend a little bit, but you're putting a lot of weight on top of it in the end, so it really won't matter. But just make sure you've got nice strong adhesive. A glue stick probably isn't good for a foil. A little too strong. Okay, there we go. So this is our beautiful front. Nobody's going to know that this is hidden in the back, but we're going to set this part aside for a moment and work on the focus background piece of our card, okay? It's always easiest to do this one without attaching it to the card first. So we need a piece of Whisper White or Basic White cardstock. You're not going to see this at all. We're just using it as a palette to work on. So you do want to cut this at 3.5 by 4 3/4. And then you'll need an assortment of little strips from that specialty designer paper in this series. So I cut 4 of each of the colors, and I ended up cutting them at 1/2 inch wide by 4 inches long, which is going to be longer than you need, but we'll trim off the excess later, and it just gives you room to work. Okay, so you could decide, hey, I'm going to go put adhesive on the back of all of these strips. But the nice part about this card is we can just cheat, and we can put an adhesive border around the outside of this white piece of paper, and then everything that we do, somehow one of the strips will stick. Okay, so you don't have to go around and individually put the adhesive on here because we're not leaving any cracks in between, and that's when we couldn't really do this sort of technique because you'd end up seeing the adhesive falling through the middle of your card, and that's not very beautiful. But we're not going to look for any white in this card. We're going to butt our pieces up right next to one another, and you will see it just looks absolutely gorgeous. They're different enough that they provide a buffer for one another. So you can start with whatever you like. I like to either start in the top corner or a bottom corner, so totally up to you, but make sure to start in a corner so you get one of your pieces that goes over this corner image, okay? And then tilt it enough so that the opposite end is coming off the other side. All right, and then whatever sort of pattern you want to start working with, make sure to keep those butted up together, but you can just start building your card, okay? So it's very kind of cathartic once you get working on this to see the pieces come together, and then you just want to make sure whatever you're doing is now in a repeating pattern, okay? So whatever colors you've chosen to start with, continue in that same sort of movement. There we go. There, so just keep going all the way up the card. You may find yourself with one extra piece in the end, but that's better than being short-handed. And that gave you the opportunity to start with whichever piece you wanted Otherwise, you might have to go back and cut one extra. Okay. So I'm just making sure I've covered both sides here, going all the way up, like so. I've got a teeny tiny piece on the top here, and that's okay. I can just put him across. All right, now the other nice thing about this card is we have no adhesive stickiness on the back pieces here. So if you want, you can grab your trimmer and have a really straight, simple cut. If you feel confident, just grab your scissors, and we're going to use the white piece of paper as a nice little buffer. It'll give you a perfectly straight line, but if you're a little worried, grab your trimmer. You won't get any adhesive stickiness on it, and just cut those lines again. Okay, but I don't mind the scissors. I find I have enough of a resting guide when I use the paper. Okay, so all of these extra pieces are just coming right off, like so. There we go. There, beautiful. Okay, you don't need any of those. You just need this piece and the gorgeous background that you have now created. So this one we are going to attach straight onto the card front we've made, because you really want these pieces. Many of them have the same silver foil to tie in with the background. If you use the dimensionals, it will kind of separate it a little bit and it won't look as blended for you. So we're going to use dimensionals on some of our other pieces instead of this background sheet. Also, I guess you want it to fit in an envelope. If you use too many dimensionals, who knows? All right, make sure to decide which side you like better, up or down, and then you can flip it around before you attach it here. Okay. There we go. So gorgeous, gorgeous background. This is also a wonderful technique you could use for any other sort of card. You could turn this into a birthday card of any sort too, but right now we're going to turn it into some sort of romantic. Okay, so the next thing that I have cut out is this die. Oh my goodness, look at it. It is amazingly detailed. It is one die, and it will cut out that perfect heart for you in the middle so that you have it to use for a later project. So we're going to put this right in the middle of our card. I don't know if you can tell, I cut this one out in our shimmery white paper, but I don't think you can really tell. It would also look great in a basic white or our pearlized white sheets as well. So put dimensionals just where you see a leaf. Okay, you don't need to worry about all these little random spaces around. Just go around the perimeter. Make sure there's a nice assortment of dimensionals, and then you don't need to worry about any of those fine detail points. Okay, so we've got our dimensionals there, and this is going right in the middle of my card because I want it to be the focus and what everybody is seeing. Okay, next is going to come my heart. Now I want this really to pop out. So what I'm going to do is I'm putting dimensionals in this empty space, a bunch of them here. We're going to put stuff on top. So you want it nice and sturdy. Take off the backings, but before you put your heart on, put another layer of dimensionals. So you're piling them on top of those 5 that you've already put down. So we have kind of a tower that is 2 dimensionals thick instead of just 1. This will make the heart pop out further and give you a beautiful focus for people to tune into. Okay, so you can see it doesn't sink down into its mold. It's got a nice little shadow around the edge here. And and we're going to keep building, okay? So my next piece that I want to find is that silver foil, the word always, that I had cut out before. And I mentioned that I cut on the basic black. What I didn't tell you was before I cut this out, I put a piece of our adhesive sheets. They're like they're sticky on both sides, so it turns my paper into a sticker when I run it through. So it's just kind of a white sheet. It comes in 6x12s, and you can cut it down to whatever size you'd need. So I just put it onto a strip that would fit my die. And then I rolled this through my Big Boss, and voila, I have a gorgeous sticker so that I don't have to sit here with any sort of fine tip glue pen and put adhesive all over this word. I can just quick and easy grab the edge of this piece of paper and just gently pull that adhesive backing off. You might have the odd little piece you need to get out for a detail, but that's okay. It'll stick to your fingers really quick. And then this, I can just start to lay. I would suggest starting with your A. Get that set. You can just lay this into my space, and it will attach all the way along. I don't need to worry about getting all gluey or glue on any part of my foil that I don't want it showing. So these things are amazing. They're kind of hidden just on the adhesive sheets in the catalog, but they're my best friends. All right, so we've got this all assembled. We're going to pop this up to put onto the middle of the heart. So I'm not putting dimensionals all across the word because, as you can see here, only a few letters actually touch the heart, so the W, A, and the Y. So that's where we're going to put our dimensionals, just kind of hiding in the middle of the word, and attach this to the heart. Like, where do I want you? I'd like you right there. There we go. Okay, now I wanted to add a sentiment. So there's all sorts of words you can choose from here, depending on whether you chose to focus on the word always or love. A lot of these sentences will make sense. However, I was debating between the two words, together always or forever and always. So I decided that I would emboss both and then just decide as I was building which one to do. So I put on my basic black cardstock, some Versamark ink, and then sprinkled white embossing powder and heated this so that it was nice and bold for you. You can also use the craft white, but it's not as sharp, so I really like that embossed white look. So what you're going to do is just fussy cut around the bottom and across the top of your image. There are some dies actually that do this for you too if you want for some of the words. And then I thought it was really fun, instead of just cutting this into a rectangle, to cut it at an angle. So make sure you go the same angle on both sides so that it turns into a fun little angled tag. Now I love putting that up on dimensionals. However, putting my little octagon dimensionals isn't really the easiest thing to do because this is so skinny. So I like to just cut off some of these edge pieces like so, and then put this onto the back just in one fell strip of my sentiment here. Okay, so the forever just goes, oop, I got a hair, right above here. Forever and always. And now I had some extra space on my foil, so that's why I decided to cut these fun pieces out. We're going to decorate with them a little bit. So my smallest leaf here, the easiest way to get this one on is with a glue dot. However, I don't think I have one handy, so that's okay. I will just use my glue. Just put a tiny bit on the bottom of your piece and tuck this behind the word forever. Okay, So let that dry, don't move it around a ton. And the largest flower is what I'm also going to tuck back in here. But I wanted it to rest nice and close to the word. So I actually cut off the bottom of the flower. And I'm just putting adhesive in the middle part where the stamen would be here and tucking it behind the word forever. Okay, and now some of these pieces, if you'll notice, they fit perfectly with the outline of the heart that we already have cut out. So I just have 3 extra pieces that I thought, hey, it'd be fun to add you in. So you just have to puzzle piece this together. Put a tiny bit of glue. You can use a fine tip glue pen or the Tombow liquid glue. Just find which white part matches your shape. Okay, here we go. This one's really messy, so just a couple dots of glue for it to stick. There we go. I love that rose. Beautiful. And then this kind of lily one. Here. All right. This one goes at the bottom. There's a couple options of where you can put them, and you could always cut yourself out another set, but I wanted the accent to be very subtle. I didn't want to cover my entire image with foil. I just wanted a little something to look at. So there you are. There is our beautiful romantic card. You can send that off for an anniversary or a wedding, or if you were quick, maybe you can get it ready for tonight for your Valentine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this surprise little video. I will see you on Tuesday at noon for my regularly scheduled videos. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Bye.